everyone and welcome back to the Jake's RC Stuff channel. We're back with proper microphones on the bench with a plane in front of us. That can only mean that I've actually got the house to myself for a little while. So, I was going to do a video on sort of tales from another Tales of the Workshop video, but I decided I can do that while people are here. And because it's like the one day that I'm off and the one day that they're away, let's actually start a model. Now, this is the Heewing T1. I have unboxed this already, and we are going to be combining it with the VTOL conversion kit. Now, there isn't any written instructions for this. There's only videos by Painless360, which are good, and that I have pre-watched prior to this, just a couple of nights ago, to make sure that I knew roughly what I was doing. But one of the big problems with that is that I can't follow instructions on, say, the iPad to the side of your view or anything like that. I can't do it because it doesn't exist. And kind of watching a video and then doing your own video feels a little strange. So we'll see how we get on. I probably will end up using his stuff when it comes to programming the thing, although I don't know if I'm going to do Autopilot or iNav yet. Still sort of deciding on that. So this isn't an unboxing. I have done that already. I don't know what is in anything. Right, so there is, there's the fuselage. We do need that. We also need the wings, which I'm going to presume are in this bottom box. In box 3, there's the stickers. One thing that is going to be annoying about this is pretty much as soon as I start putting this together, it won't go back in the box, but never mind. So, there is the inside. 2 bits of a canopy, that's a bit interesting. So yeah, we've got the sort of flight controller stuff in here. Yes, that's the distribution board. So we've got LED. Don't really know what the other two are for. Oh, apparently you can put an undercarriage on if you really want to. Don't know why you would do that, but never mind. So we need the wings, of course. And here we are. And of course, a lot of this wing is now going to be modified because they're going to come off. But yeah, we need to. So first things first, we need to replace these motor nacelles with the flippy floppy ones. Now, something that's a bit of a problem is what they recommend that you do is, so you unplug the lights and you use the connector that the lights normally use for the tilt motors. That seems a little bit of a shame, to be honest. So we'll start taking this wing apart and we'll see if there's any way that we can actually keep the lights around, even if they are just on. You know, you can't switch them off or anything. I think the idea is that if you have a flight controller, you can have the lights do your, you know, oh, if it's flashing green, it means you're ready to go, things like that. But from flying the White Shark the other week, I am reminded about the beeper, and I'm fairly sure the flight controller that I've bought for this does have a beeper. So you can just use the beeper instead of the lights. Yeah. Yep. Right, so I've removed the 2 top screws there, or bottom screws as the case may be, and then we just need to remove these 2 from the front. I should really get a pot or something going for screws. We've done these 3D printing tests for the screws, and then we've got 2 on the front, so we'll get rid of those. Okay, and with that, the motor pops off the front. Oh, no, actually, the bottom pops off first. And then we can just remove the whole thing out the front, like so. And then we've got the speed controller, which I'm not sure if we keep or replace, I can't remember. So if I bring this up a bit closer, you can see you've actually got 3 wires. Well, 4 sets of wires, if you like. You've got the one for the servo, you've got the one for the light, you've got the one for the signal for the speed controller, and for the power as well. And obviously we are going to need to modify this slightly to get our new bits on. Now, it could be another one of these things where hopefully I'm going to be building most of this today, at least kit-wise. Because a lot of screws to try and remember where they go. So this is the connector on the end of the wing, and it sort of shows you those 3 sets of wires. So at the end you've got the motor, servo and LED. You can touch on the motor is because it's only got the black and white cable because it won't have a back. So yeah, what they want you to do is remove the LED cable and use that for the tilt servo. So if I try and find that tilt servo in our bag of many bits in the conversion pack, again, apologies I'm not showing you this, but if you want to see what comes in the conversion pack, I have a video specifically for that. So we have tilting, so we have plastic bits, tilting servo, another tilting servo somewhere, a tilting servo. I think that's roughly all we need for now. Okay, so these tilting servos, carbon fibre parts and some screws. Here's the servo itself. So again, this servo you have to imagine would go roughly here, ish, and then you'd have that wire running round. So again, it is a real shame to be getting rid of those lights. It does come with its own wire. So what I am debating is, could we just tap a wire off of here? Because I believe there'll be room up there. Yeah, there's room, or we can certainly make room. And tap just a little JST wire almost to go up there. Before I go to the joy of doing that, because I'm sure it will be an absolute joy, let's have a look at getting this actually fitted. Okay, so I believe these are also 25 amp ESCs. It just says Heewing on it, which is really helpful. Thanks, guys. So I think there is only one more speaker controller in here. So that's a speaker controller. No, we've got motors galore. No, right, okay. So what we need to do is we need to unsolder this motor from this speed controller and solder it on. Try and remember which way around everything is on that. And then once we've done that, we can sort of build this front pod and see if we have got room to run what's actually going to be the servo wire. Is going to be our additional wire. We may have to take quite a few of these out to sort of dig the wing a little bit more. But again, I really do want to keep the lights, even if they are just dumb switched on lights as opposed to flashing and stuff and doing different things for different controls. I like the idea of having lights on it. So I'm going to pause for now. We will grab soldering iron, knife, and get things desoldered, and then we can go from there. Has this got extra screws in it? It has. So some of the screws in here we can actually get rid of, possibly. Maybe. Why is there 5 screws and not 4 or 6? One as a spare, maybe. We'll find out with that. Because I guess don't know. Again, this is going to be interesting with no instructions, but let's see how we go. Well, we've already had a disaster. Yep, I put it on the soldering iron. Well, shit, I believe is the technical term. It don't look too bad, luckily, from the top, but from the bottom it's a bit of a nightmare, and obviously there are aerodynamic issues. So what I might have to do with that is either if I can find a spare bit of foam from the model somewhere, I could try cutting this shape square, gluing a new bit in, or maybe using Gorilla Glue. But Gorilla Glue will either be white or yellow, which isn't great. But never mind. Well, but what I've done when I'm not melting the wing is I've cut the heat shrink on the front bit of here so we can actually get to it. And what I am going to do with the soldering iron is solder something that I intend to solder. Can we drop this down a bit? Ooh, new things on the table. Let's try and not melt myself as well. So we'll take these wires off. I realise you probably can't see anything through my hand, but never mind. There you go. So that can sort of stay around until, I don't know, if I like this model enough and decide to get one, I can get one as a kit, you know, as a non-VTOL and put them on. And then these are the motors. So you get two short wires, one with long wires. Short wires obviously for here. And I'm not going to match the colours up. I'm literally just going to have them, you know, as they come out of the motor, just to keep things neat. We can always reverse them, supposedly, in like iNav or whatever. I've never done that before, but we live and learn. Let's oh my god, I'm soldering them all up. They're all now soldered together. Right, I'm going to turn this off and see if I can resurrect this mistake that I've made. Right, I've had a right bloody nightmare, but eventually we're there. We've got the speaker controller soldered up, and as far as I can tell, nothing joining. Although, what the fuck is this? Fixed. So that's one done. And we've got to do this all again, remember, folks. So another thing that happened is the speaker controller itself got so hot, so I really do hope it's not knackered, that it melted the heat shrink that was over it, so I have to put that black heat shrink on. Still fits all right. Should still hopefully work. So yes, for how good this soldering job's going, I'm a bit worried about doing this idea with the JST plug, but never mind. We'll see how we go. So yeah, the one that goes to the LEDs, which is that one. Ooh. The idea is that we would basically cut that. Make it into a JST. Now, the tilt servos, as I say, already have the connectors on, so that's not too bad. We can just pull that wire back for now, I think. I'm going to turn off this soldering iron before it can do any more damage and get it out of the way. Just because I'm now fretting to death of catching me or the plane or whatever on it. So, zoom out a little bit. So this is the wire for the LED. I've taken it out of this little daughter board and I'm going to pull it out. So there we are. That is the cable for the LED that's currently out of the way. And then what we would do is the tilt servo would then wire up into there instead. Like so. So then our question is, could we open this up enough to let all these wires in? So because I'm going to have to hold this in my hand, do it close to my face, you're just going to be staring at the table, I'll come back as and when I've got an idea of what we can do. Right, well, let me close the window. I was going to melt some plastic on purpose this time, but I don't think I need to. So what I did try doing was soldering the lights onto the equivalent of these two. Plugged it in, didn't work. So what I've done now is soldered on a servo wire to push it through, and what I need to do now is grab a servo tester and a battery, and we'll see if hate dealing with solderites. If we can actually get the light to turn on now. Why does the light not work? Well, this is going well. The light does now just outright doesn't work. Oh great, so after all that, what I had done, the whole idea was I'd plug it in and do it some other way, but I presume it's just a PWM signal, and if I can't get the PWM signal to work properly, I'll try another battery just in case that battery's knackered. But we're heading forward, just ripping it out and getting rid of it at this point, which is an annoying waste of time. Anything? No. So yeah, that light in the end of the wing outright just doesn't work. So I'm going to take it apart and I'm going to cut the wire just past that servo join there. So we can, I guess, use it if we ever wanted to. In fact, I might just cut the wire there and pull it back a bit. Then we don't have to remove everything. Where are the snips? There they are. See, that was a big waste of like an hour of my time trying to work that out, so it didn't even work at all. Chuck that in the bin. Yeah, we'll just pull that wire back, and we'll tuck it in there out the way because I've already extended the channel, so I've already got extra room for it. So underneath this, it's hard to see, but I did just extend the channel down further, so there was room for more wires, and I've also, as you can probably see, widened the channel here to get that servo wire for the tilt in a little bit easier as well. So let's just sort of feed that all in. What I might do actually is take all the wires out and put this useless wire to the bottom out of the way, and it can live there in solitude and pain for what it has caused me for this last, yeah, just under an hour trying to get something to work. So yeah, I'm even sure that I've seen a video on it. There is ways of getting the wires to work on the VTOL, or sorry, getting the lights to work on the VTOL. But that's not working for me. So what I'm doing, again, slightly hard to see, and I keep getting ads of shit I don't want. So yeah, we'll put that back. Those two can run where they need to be. And we should be all good to go at that. Again, I suppose that you can't see this, so the audio is probably very strange. So I'm sort of looking now at the microphone and probably talking into it, but never mind. We'll make some sort of video out of this. I'm probably going to have a break soon, just because I'm getting a bit fed up. Come on. We'll go back to routing the wires in a bit. So this is how the motor goes in the end. It sort of slides in, and then we'll have bolts to bolt it together. I need to know which way round, whether it needs to face this way or around that way. I'll go and check Painless 360's video for that. Then we can get it bolted together and then work on bolting the motors together, but also that must be how it works. Alright. We can do that. Right, I am going to watch the video to see which way around this goes, and then we'll get one side sort of screwed up. So basically, all I've done in the end is taken this nacelle off and swapped the wire that used to go to the LED to the wire for this tilt servo. And that's it. That's basically all we've done in all this time. So yeah, I'll watch that video so I know which way around it goes. We'll have a go at getting this sorted out. Okay, so he has the servos facing out, so the hub of the servo pointing that way. So let's have a look. So the side that goes on the bottom is the side, obviously I know this is the right side, it's the side with the hole in. This one doesn't have a hole in. So we also need to make sure that all the wires go through where they need to go. Maybe the motor one first, because that's going to be the hardest. Right, a bit of post-commentary here. As you can tell, I'm trying to make sure that all the wires will fit in the right place. I have actually made that groove a little bit thicker so we can fit the extra cable in. And this is me making sure that the plastic actually fits into the wing and making sure that the servo fits in the end of the plastic properly. And I'm now getting the little screws out of the bag as I unscrew them in. This screwdriver, or Allen key driver I guess, was completely crap, so I had to go and find a little Allen key from out of grub screws to fit it, and you can really see the strobing of the lights here. But here we are, that's me tidying them up. It's kind of a shame that one doesn't come with the kit. It would have been a nice thing to include because it is a bit of a strange size, and none of our other Allen key sets would actually go that small. Presumably I'm still doing up screws. We then need to make sure that the wires actually go through the right place, so we need to make sure that the wire goes in through the front and through the back of the plastic engine nacelle, if you want to call it that. And we also need to make sure that that speed controller can fit between the foam back where it was previously. And I suddenly realised quite how much of this was out of the frame. Yeah, I think that zoomed out view we did near the beginning was a lot better, but never mind. So, yes, I'm still doing something. I'm watching this with you, just muted. And obviously sped up as it's going to be. Doing something still, probably. Yes, it looks like the servo is fitted. And I am starting to install screws. Am I doing screws again? Did I have to take the screws out? I think I may have had to take the screws out there to do the wiring. I don't know, I haven't actually looked at the next clip that might show me redoing it. But yeah, the wiring, trying to get all the speed control wiring and the motor wiring in the right place and the servo wiring in the right place. I end up putting the servo wiring sort of in the top of the nacelle, if you like, and then the speed controller on top of that. You can sort of see it through the plastic there. But bye for now. And again, we're getting towards the point of what the fuck are screws? As in, I know what screws are. I mean, like, what the fuck are these for? You know, just like so many little packs of screws everywhere. And I will try and get things sort of right if I can, but Jesus. Right, I think what I'm going to do now, and this will surprise people who know me, is I'm actually going to have a little bit of a tidy up and just try and clear a bit of room on the bench, get rid of some crap that we're not going to need for this point, and just tidy up some of these plastic bags we've got scattered around all over the place. So I will do that and see you all in a minute. Okay, I'll freely admit it's not exactly like the bench is empty, but as I say, I've cleared away a load of them plastic bags. This is going to be such an ongoing sort of pain in the arse with this, I could just tell, of knowing what screws do what. And what the big problems is with this is the fact that a lot of this you're screwing into plastics. If you put the wrong screw in and knacker the plastic, it actually turns out it should be a smaller screw, then you know you're just heading for pain. You're heading for pain. And I don't know what screws are duplicates and what screws you're meant to reuse, if there are any or whatever. It's just a bit of a pain in the arse, but we'll just try and keep going and see what we can do. So we need to do these screws here. Did I get two out specifically for that? Fuck knows, they're all the same. Get that all nice and tight, but don't overdo it. And that is actually, to be honest, really, really strong. That's quite impressive. So what we need next is the actual sort of angled bar, if you like. So this obviously goes on the motor, and then that will go on the servo arm somewhere like this. So now what I'm actually going to do, I'm going to take the board, take one of our wires, plug it into the LED, which is counterintuitive, but that's what the tilt servos are. I'm going to plug that into here, and then I can use our battery thingy, neutral. This gives a rough neutral, and make sure we get this arm on this side roughly where it needs to be. Put that back in the box. For now we don't need it. Jesus, it's on well. And it is a metal geared servo. I think the rest of them in the model are plastic, unfortunately. It does baffle me. I did have somebody come on saying, "Oh, there's no problem with it being a plastic geared servo. You know, plastic gears mean that it's smoother because like there's give in the gears, and I'm like, that makes absolutely zero sense. I'm going to presume that this plate goes that way around. If you can see the holes aren't actually in the middle of the plate, I'm going to presume it goes like that because then the motor will be in the middle of the arm. I may be wrong, but that makes the most sense to me. So, time for us to screw this motor on. Now, again, I'm not sure if I meant to reuse the screws that hold the motor that came with it on. Nope, you're meant to use ones that come in the kit because they are countersunk. Again, I have no idea what screws for what at this point. I don't know if we've got spares or if I'm missing something very obvious somewhere. We'll just go and see what happens. Where's the Allen key I was using? I can unplug that actually now. Where has it gone? There it is. And this is the type of thing where I wish we had an area in this workshop to sit down, because we don't. And it means stuff like this where you want to be sort of sat down at a bench or at a table. A bit of a nightmare. In fact, let's move to the kitchen table. The kitchen table. So the lighting is different. It's probably going to sound different, but I can actually sit down and work on this. So we can actually disconnect that for now. So yeah, we need to get this bit. Right, okay, so now ready to bolt up. I just need to grab the other 4 screws back in a sec. Right, I have had another thought while I went and got those screws. When this is in the middle, it actually wants to be about 45 degrees up. The reason why being that servos only move 90 degrees, so usually we have them in the middle and move them 45 degrees every direction. Obviously, 90 degrees, we want this to be straight up. The other 90 degrees, we want it to be straight ahead. So, what we actually need to do, come on. It feels a high quality servo as well, to be honest. Let's just, blinded by the light. Neutral. And again, this is only rough. This stagey thing isn't great at finding the centres anyway, and also we'll be doing it with the dynamo itself at some point. So, roughly about 45 degrees. I'm going to have to put a screw in there at some point as well, I imagine. Yeah, don't know when or what with, but we'll see. Right, let me get this motor fired in then. Okay, so poor lighting aside, there we are, it's installed, and it can go all the way down there, it can go all the way up there. Again, it doesn't have a screw in there, but I don't see how it can come apart because it's all metal, so maybe there's not meant to be. We'll see when I do the other side. Obviously now I've done the one side, and I mean it started off badly and it was just a pain. But also it's probably a good point to stop this video. Yeah, if I do decide to do the other one. And again, I'm still trying to decide what to do about that. And obviously this wing isn't completely finished because we need to put this control rod in. You know, do the usual the usual stuff. Yeah, so we've got 2 long screws with no, because also we've got to have screws to put the propeller on. But they're definitely the right screws for that bit. Don't know why you'd use any different screws for that bit. I don't know, there you are. Unless that's what those 2 long screws are for, I bet that's it. I bet those 2 long screws are to fit the propeller. So ignore the silver ones, the 2 black screws in there, I think they're going to be for attaching your propeller, because they sort of bolt on directly onto there. Annoying that they're so different to like every other motor that exists, other than like big 50cc stuff. But yeah, it's on, it's in. We just need to do the same to the other side, which I will do a video on, just because this was such a bit of a clusterfuck of what to do. Now I know what I'm doing, I will actually show you what to do this time, as opposed to you getting to watch me find out. Well, that is going to be it for this episode. If you enjoyed, please click the like button, it helps out a lot. Remember to subscribe, and if any questions, comments, feedback, feel free to leave it below. And something that I am going to start asking for, if possible, is watching the whole video, which I should probably say later on in the video, but at the minute what I really need for this channel is watch time increasing. Once that is a bit higher, we can look at monetization, and it means that we can actually, I've always said that any money I make from this channel will go back into it, at least for a long time. So yeah, if I can actually get some monetization, get some pennies coming in from the old AdSense, it will go into buying more stuff and equipment and things. But thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed, I've done all that crap. So I'll just see you in the next one. Bye bye.